Quest 2 grips. There's a lot of sets out there and we've talked about a lot of them, but I wanna go a little further and talk a little bit more about the Kiwi top version grips. They sent me another set of them. Let's check them out. If you saw the original video, we opened these up. These are great grips because they are thicker, they're longer, they have a battery door to get inside to your batteries if you need to swap those out. And I was really impressed with the durability, the feel, and how much I liked them. But they chose which set to send me. They sent me their all black set of identical grips. They asked, hey, how are you liking those? Do you want another set? And I said, you know, I'd really like another set because one thing that I noticed that I wish I had known is that when these are sitting there like this, it is so easy to grab the wrong ones when they're the exact same color. It's not as easy for some reason as two controllers sitting there. You can look at them and pretty quickly tell which one's which. With these grips, it kind of masks them. I asked, hey, do you have another option? I thought they were sending me the white set with just the different colored handle, but it looks like we got the full Beat Saber setup here of the red and blue. They come with the same little pads for out here, and kind of a fun detail on any of them. With these, they do actually have the little colored tips on the end here. Now, for those of you out there who are like, I've never used grips, I don't really see the point, I don't know why you want them. There's a couple different reasons. One, if you're a Beat Saber player and you've gotten your hands really sweaty, you know that this gets real slippery real fast. Two, when you're playing a game where you have to throw something, it can be much more nicer for your immersion. Instead of going, throw, 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 you can actually open your hand as you throw something and it feels a lot more natural and real. And these things are just comfortable, especially if you have big hands. I have pretty wide hands here. The stock controller just feels insufficient. I feel the bottom of my palms hanging off one side. It just doesn't feel meaty enough for me. This really covers that problem. Speaking of problem, there aren't any grips out there that are perfect quite yet. So a couple little details you might want to consider. These grips do have some very slight interaction with the front set of infrared lights here. They kind of cover them over here. It's pretty rare that in Quest 2 tracking, it needs those infrared lights, because usually you're holding your controller out like this, you're shooting a gun, you're swinging your sabers. It's pretty rare that you turn your hand back this far that those lights are needed. But if you're playing a game like table tennis, where you just swing the controller around in your hand, you can end up with the controller in your hand like this if you're not using the actual grips, and that could cause some interaction. Another detail, as I've owned them longer, this has gotten longer and longer from people grabbing and pulling on it. It's lengthened out a good little amount. And I've started to notice now with that extra length, when I'm really swinging in Beat Saber or other games, it whacks me in the hand. It's not painful, this is very lightweight, but it is a little distracting. Sometimes I'll stick my fingers through there and hold it like that just to keep it off of me, but it is something that I noticed over time as these stretch out that I thought I'd mention for those of you who are still considering these and wanted to know after a much longer time. The last thing that I've noticed, and it's not on me, but when I was demoing this to other people, I noticed because of where this bit right here is, how much lower it is. So like, let's compare here. If I'm holding a controller normally, my hand can creep up all the way up to here if it needed to. It usually rests right around there, but it could go as high as this if I had shorter thumbs or smaller hands, and I could still reach everything fine. This gives you a hard stop. I can't really push my hand up any further, and with my thumb length, that's fine. I can reach everything fine. But when you had someone with small hands, when you had someone younger, they couldn't always get up to this button. They kept trying to use this as the trigger. So even after all these time, all the other grips that have come out since and everything else I've tried, I'm coming back basically to tell you, these are still my absolute favorite. If you've been thinking about them, you're on the fence, I would highly recommend them. They're pretty easy to install. You take your battery door off. I personally take this wrist strap out, and they come with their own wrist strap that I actually didn't use. I got rid of their wrist strap because once you have a hand strap, in my opinion, you don't really need a wrist strap. Do that at your own risk. So then, like any other grip, your controller is just going to slip into it. I do believe you want to open the battery doors first. It's been a while since I've installed one of these. Slip this down, and this actually slips in and replaces your battery door. So you actually hear it snap in there in place, and then that gives you constant access over to your batteries. Now, I guess technically it's better to have your batteries out when you do it. I use weird batteries. I never take my batteries out, but that's another video. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to understand why I do that. So yeah, you should have your battery removed, because then as you slide this in, there is this last tab here. As long as you're rocking normal batteries like most people do, this tab you want to push down inside and slip your battery back in like normal, because then when you go to switch batteries in the future, this is here to just help you pull that battery out. Very nice feature. Not something I personally use because I use rechargeable batteries that I can recharge from inside, but it's there for you. Last step here, this goes up over the front. And now when I go to use this set, I'm never gonna wonder which is which, because this is my traditional Beat Saber colors. It's gonna be obvious. Blue is right, red is left. They also include these Halo ring protector covers. I showed these off a lot in the first one, so I won't go too in depth here, but we did do testing on these, and these did not seem to create any sort of tracking issues. It worked just fine with them on, and it adds a good layer of silicone protection to it, which is nice. So something that I feel is optional, but I think it's cool that they're there. And then last, I don't really use these all the time. I did put them back on here recently for taking these out and showing other people VR, but they include these kind of comfort wrap things that just keep the silicone from pushing on your hand. It gives you this kind of soft Velcro padding instead. And there you have it. Kiwi top version grips add width, length, and of course the hand straps to your controllers. They're my absolute favorite. $43 is what they cost. They're not cheap for grips, but they are very durable. They seem to be the best quality out there you can get. So check them out if you're interested. I'll leave a link in the description, of course, for you to take a look at them. And I'm super excited to now have this set because I'll have a little less confusion whenever I go to grab the controllers. But thanks for hanging out with me here today, and I will see you in another reality. Audio good?